It's private, what is going on? Let's just come back. So hopefully, okay, we're now live on our channels here. Okay, cool. All right. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in the world today. Giving honor and praises to God for waking us up this morning in our right mind, sound, able-bodied, and sound mind to go out here and do what we need to do today. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. We are going to follow up from where we were last week because I think this week should be a week of review. It should be a week of reflection. And if you have any questions, this week is the week to ask the questions so that we can kind of make this a dialogue. And I'm just not coming and sharing my experience, sharing what I know, being Miss Know-It-All, because I don't know it all. I'm still learning every day. I'm still learning, and prayerfully, I'm healing and growing too, from life terms, and getting my life in order. So if you care to join me on the journey, feel free, reach out to me and we can walk this journey together. I might be a couple steps ahead of you, but I'm sure that whatever little bit I do know, I can help you to bring you up to speed so that we can kind of do this thing and run. As we're started in review of last week, we talk about first of all, we talked about spirituality, that believing in something greater than yourself, knowing that it's not all you, that it's a force, a universe, a being, the creator, God, whatever you call him, Allah, whatever you call him or her, however you see it. There's a driving force in your life. You know that it's not just you and your abilities making life happen, right? So as we're talking about the spirituality piece of it and developing that relationship with your higher power and get to know them better, whether you're reading your Quran, reading your Holy Bible, or whatever the book of the word is for you, you want to read it and become knowledgeable for yourself so that no one can tell you some poppycock and, have you half sprung out here on some foul information or half-baked information. Read the word for yourself, learn it for yourself, develop that relationship with God for yourself, know him for yourself. I can't stress it enough because if it wasn't for God, I probably wouldn't be here talking to you all right now. That's the way I look at it. But anyway, like I was saying, we're looking at spirituality. We're looking at our physical growth and our physical and psychological growth. How well do we comprehend information? How well are we able to adapt it and apply it in our lives appropriately? How well do we understand our behaviors, our actions, and what we do, and how it impacts not just us, but the people that we're around? We were looking at ourselves through the lens of self, how we identify our own self, what is our own self-image, how do we view our lives, how do we view the people in our lives, and how is that interaction with those people in our lives, whether it's your family, friends, co-workers, your community members. What is that interaction like? Is it positive? Is it strained? Does it promote growth and development? So we were looking at all these things, right? We covered so much information. I gave you guys some assignments to do, to just sit down and take an assessment of your own thing so that you can kind of pull it in, because I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to think that I'm better than you, because I'm not. I am in the same boat you are. I might just be a couple of boats ahead of you, but I'm in the same ocean. So as we are navigating through this thing called life and accepting life on life terms, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, and the ugly, who we are, who we think we are, or who we perceive ourselves to be, is the big question, and could be the very thing that's hindering you and holding you back from living the life that you want to live, simply based off of your mindset and how you perceive yourself and how you perceive the life that you live, right? We talk about abundance, and we talk about how it's your birthright. We talk about wealth building principles and the different components that build wealth. All these things are things that we need to know, because money is not important, but it's just as important as oxygen, because you need it, right? You need oxygen to breathe. You need money to live. So why not learn how to manage your finances better so that you can know how to spend your finances in a proper manner that is where your money is going to give you a return on it, more of a return to where you can kind of become your own bank versus you not doing that and having to be at the mercies of others. So as we're looking at that, there were some key things that I pointed out to you guys last week. And guess what? Self-accountability, self-awareness. I'm gonna hold you to it. I'm gonna hold you to it, because I know that if you don't seek it, if you don't go look for it, if you don't find it for yourself, 9 times out of 10, you probably don't care that much about it. But if it's something that you want for yourself and you kind of zone in on it, or you're thinking that this something positive might work in your life to improve your life, to move better, you're 9 times out of 10 more motivated to go after and seek the information than to wait for somebody to come put it in your lap. We can no longer sit and wait for things to be put in our lap, because that's not the way the world works. If you want to become better, do better, provide a better life, become more sustainable, you have to put yourself in places that's going to make you feel uncomfortable. You're going to have to go some places that you never went before. And you're going to have to do some things that you may not have done before in order to stretch yourself and grow. And when you develop your relationship with God, and as you get to know him better and you share your most inner thoughts, your dreams, your desires, your passion, what it is that you really truly want for your life, God is going to give it to you. And you have to be prepared for it. So, you have to be very careful what you ask for, because one day you might wake up and you very well may get it. But if you're not prepared for it, what's going to happen? You may lose it, right? It may not last as long as you thought. It might be a glimpse of your future, what you thought you could have, but because you failed to prepare, you were unable to hold on to it and keep it tangible. So we want to look at and realize who we are, who we see ourselves as in our life, in our level of awareness of self. What is the interpretation of our life? How do we interpret ourselves, our lives, where we are, and what is our ideal self? So we want to look at all that. Yesterday we talked about, I've been talking up a storm lately. We're talking about ways to help one another, and I shared in a live of the years of service that I have spent serving my community where I live and the surrounding area community in a variety of capacities of services over my 25 plus years of service in the human services field. And how when you are working with the client, one thing I learned, okay, I might be crossing over a little bit here, so forgive me if I lose you for 1 minute. I'm going to backtrack and I'm going to come back and try this again. Working in the field of human services over 25 years in a variety of areas, from child care, maternal child health, all criminal justice, all the way up to child welfare as well as in the medical field. You meet all different kind of people, and having my own experience of being a parent and a woman myself, and having to go through some of these channels of same services that I, you know, eventually built my life to where I got on the other side of the window. At one point, I used to be on the service side where I was the client and I come in. So I know, I get it, I understand. So I try to be very understanding, and I try to be, how do you say it? I try to be as compassionate as I can to understand, to hear what your concern is so that I can best address it, find out what it is and how I can best service you. However, then as when you talk about prevention, because I did talk about the juveniles, I did talk about when you're raising your children, and I forewarned you that this is something that many parents we don't think about it. You know, you might think it's cute now because they're little and stuff, and you're telling them they don't have to listen to nobody, and you know, the little things that they're doing, talking back and all that stuff, and not listening, and you having to tell them 2-3 times to do something. It might be funny now, it's not going to be funny later, and it could cost you in a variety of ways. And I shared some of those ways. So you want to make sure that you're doing what you need to do. Don't listen. I'm not here to point the fingers. I know I'm saying you. I don't want you to feel like I'm picking on you, because I'm not. I'm there. I was there. I was that mom. Well, I didn't play with the whole talking back. I was a little bit more, I probably was the type of parent that stressed my kids out because I was on top of them, or at least tried to be on top of them the best of my ability, because my grandmother told me when I got pregnant with my children that the life that I lived was now then over, because now the life that I have to live is the life of these children. So I took that literally, and I held it to my heart, and I worked very hard in honoring my grandmother and my parents, as well as myself and my children, to give them the best, the better me that I could give them. So I didn't play with them. They got disciplined, they got all that stuff. And it was through that process that I learned about the juvenile justice system. It was through that process that I learned that at-risk youth programs are designed for children that voluntarily want to go to the program. Now, you know, if you got an adolescent that ain't listening to you and ain't doing nothing, they ain't volunteering to go to no program either. You know what I mean? So you might have some different challenges, and you know, sometimes they have to experience what they have to experience. They just have to go through it. It's the hardest thing a parent has to endure. You lose sleep. You worry about your child. You worry about the children that they're out there with. You just start praying and asking God to cover them all, cover the kids, cover all the support systems that's out there to help the children, because it's a lot. You do a lot when you have a child that is exhibiting at-risk behaviors. You might not sleep for months, and it's okay. God will carry you through. Remember to take care of yourself and do what you need to do for you while you're trying to help this child navigate. And sometimes you gotta take your hands up, put your hands up, take them away, and let them experience what they gotta experience. Because if they're not listening to you, and you do the check marks and you've done everything that you needed to do, then, you know, so now we're looking at the kid, right? So now we're talking about holding accountability, taking responsibility for yourself. And I believe that was something that we talked about yesterday, accountability. Yeah, we did. What is the cost of awareness? That was the question. So when you have an adolescent, and I'm just going to share my story a little bit here. We all know I lost my son in August, but he was a grown man, and he learned his lesson, and he never got in no more trouble after a juvenile incident. When he was a juvenile, the man child, it's a little different when you're a woman and you're raising a man child, because he can identify with me in the mother love sense. He couldn't identify with me in that father figure momentum. So I had to be creative. I had to find positive male role models that fit a category. They had to have a job. They had to have had a job for a long time. They had to have some kind of experience, or maybe going through some things in their youth and turned it around and made it better. I found mentors, business mentors. And through the school, there were staff members that became mentors to him as well. So when you talking about working with a team, you're talking about talking to like 50 or more people on a regular basis because of the different ins and outs. You're talking to the school, and if they're going to put your child out of school, then you're talking to whatever programs that your child's going to be going to and finding out what's going on there. But you have to follow up. You cannot just trust that the staff at the school saying, working with your at-risk child, you cannot trust that staff member is going to push that paperwork where it needs to be. That was my experience. So I share it with other parents. You leave nothing up to no one. You make sure that you got as much documentation as they do, so that you can carry that documentation wherever it needs to go, so that you can do what you need to do for your kid. And I say that because there was an incident where he was going to be transferred from the high school because it was just too challenging. Incidents were going on. And the crazy part about it, now that I sit back and I think about it, he really got into a lot of different incidences because he was defending other people. He didn't like when people bully other people. So if you were the bully, he would come get you. He would come and bully you. But that was causing me aggravation and stress. And he's feeling obligated to speak up for the little person. So I guess I did a good job as a mom, or maybe that was part of my characteristics or whatever inside of him. But those challenges had me out of work, had me in and out of the judicial system, especially when we went, what route do we go? We went through the school for at-risk. We went through the school, but then we found an alternative school. And that's why I say follow the paperwork, because sometimes they don't follow up on the paperwork and send it over. And you'll be sitting there like, what? They looking at you like, I don't know nothing about that. So parents, your follow-up, your involvement, I cannot express it enough how important it is to be involved. The cost of awareness is responsibility. And we said that yesterday. So long story short, as I'm doing the following up with him through getting from the high school to the alternative school, then we had some issues with the alternative school, and he went to alternative school half-day portion, then he went to the other high school half-day portion, then that was a little challenge in there. So it's some things that go on in school, you know what I mean, that we're not aware of as parents. And for me, it was easier to sit my butt in the school because I'm sorry, my brain can't handle it. And when it comes to the cost of awareness and responsibility, I know that I'm going to end up paying for it, or I'm going to have to end up doing something or something. I'm going to be involved in some kind of way. So I go get myself involved. I go sit down and have a seat so I can watch the classroom management. I can see how well the teacher manages the classroom. Is she good at giving? Is he or she good at giving directions? And are the kids following the directions? Do they prompt the kids too many times, give them too much stuff at one time, and then the kids can't follow nothing? And what's the structure? Do they hold discipline? When the kids enter the room, do they know to sit their butts down in that seat and keep their mouth shut until the teacher begins the class? Or do they come in and they be rowdy and they do what they want to do, and then the teacher spends like 30 minutes trying to get them settled down? All of that is a factor, ladies and gentlemen, when you're raising these kids. And they begin to start becoming adolescents and getting into different things and making their own choices and decisions. Okay, all of that, long story short, to say that from the alternative school, high school, then there was an incident where, we had probation involved for a little while. And from not obeying a curfew, he got caught up and ended up in a juvenile placement in Pennsylvania. So New Jersey and Pennsylvania operate underneath two different laws. And if you are not on your toes and you're not following and tracking your kid can get lost in the system. And we don't want that to happen. You want to track your kid. You want to know as much as everybody else knows, including the attorney that is representing your kid. That was so funny. I like to point this part out because when he went through the juvenile justice system and he got hemmed up over Philadelphia, and I got a phone call in the middle of the night. I was worried. I was in my bed sleeping, but I was worried because I knew he wasn't home yet. But when I got the call from the 25th Street District, Philadelphia police, telling me that they had him or whatever, I went to sleep. The next day, I got up and I went over there. This boy, see, this one, see, but this is how you know you're doing a good job parenting, because he was shocked to see me. Now, who does that? I'm thinking that he would want to see me. He would want some assistance. He ain't want no parts of me. He ain't want me to know nothing about nothing. He ain't want me to work it, because you know why? Because he knows I'm getting to the root of the problem, because now you in the way. You are not only costing me money, you're taking away things from the house by not listening and abiding by the rule. And our children do that. They test the boundaries. So, you want to be careful and be mindful. I didn't mean to get off on tangent on that, but I can't stress that enough as a parent, the cost of awareness, because not only do the children have to be aware of who they are, whose they are, what's their perception of their life, who are they going to be when they go out here and be in the world, but they need to know that there's consequences to your actions, and it's crazy because a lot of our children don't know there's consequences to their actions, because the adults act and walk around like there's no consequences to the actions. Like some of this stuff is okay. But the only way we're going to begin to start seeing the difference is if we start changing ourselves. And it starts with your mindset. It starts with looking at where you are, how well you adapt. What do you want out of your life? Have you ever sat down and imagined your life? What does it look like? What type of home will you have? What type of car will you have? What's going to be in that home? What kind of things are going to be in the home that you want? What's the lifestyle that you want to live? And it sounds crazy. And it even sounds crazy to me even saying it, because as a child, I don't remember fantasizing. Like, I didn't spend a lot of time thinking about like what my life was going to be like. Like I said, I knew I was going to be a mom. I saw the kids in my dream. Never knew I was going to be a wife or not. Tried it twice, maybe not for me. That's okay. In due time, God's time. But if you were someone that fantasized, I wasn't one of the ones that fantasized about getting married. I fantasized more about what type of lifestyle I would live outside of the lifestyle that I was growing up in. And I tried really, really hard. However, life on life terms. Teenage mom, pregnancy, bam, in the way already. Yeah, straight out the box. Can't even get off the step right. Graduate high school, now I got a baby. Bam. Got a baby, gotta go to work, gotta pay for childcare, gotta figure out where I'm gonna live, because now I'm living under my mom and dad's roof with a kid. So, all of that is a part of who I am, who I be. What makes me the way I am? And families are very important to me, because the family is really the driving force of the universe, of the world. When you look at it, families do it. We are procreating, we're creating miracle babies every day. Babies are born every day. And it's our responsibility to ensure that they're born and come here safe and sound, and they get what they need to move on with life, right? To make sure that we're building confident children that have not arrogance, but confidence in their abilities of who they are, whose they are, their perception of self, so no one can tear them down and break them down. Teaching them how to regulate their emotions, so that they're not out here using their hands all the time. Now, sometimes you got to use your hands. I get it, but not all the time. Every situation, you have to think about it. Unless you're getting paid for this, I would put them down. And if you're using this, definitely put it down. Because you definitely in the way, you about to cause a whole lot of a domino effect of debt, incurred expenses, all kind of stuff. Because you're talking incarceration, lawyers, court fees, all that stuff. It adds up. And you can stand up and say, oh, yeah, I'm tough, I'm going to do this. Nah, you ain't that tough, especially if you ain't got no bread put in the basket. And as quiet as this cat, all the bread everybody think they're making, you really ain't making it. It's not out there no more. You have to find other ways. Why do you think people are coming up with other ways to create income, to ensure that they have money flowing from other directions? They're trying to build wealth. They're trying to build a legacy. Now, whether they're doing it precisely the way that it's supposed to be done, or they're finding their own twist to it and managing to pull it off, just know that they're taking some time to sit down and learn and take that in. And guess what? While you're learning about you too, because you grow and develop first before anything happens. My 25 years of experience came from a lot of sitting down, listening, taking notes, and then trying to implement it into my life. That was the majority of my life. Even still now to this day, I still follow the best leaders. I still follow those so I can learn, because the moment that I get to the point where I think that I know it all and that I'm good, that's the moment that I'm not good and I'm going to fail. And I don't want you to do that neither. I want you to continue to believe in yourself. I want you to continue to love on your family, love your children, allow them to grow. But if you can put yourself in a better situation to where you can set your life up to where it's less stress, less worry, you can have the funds or mechanisms or tools to provide your children an alternative experience outside of them, because peers, they're going to go through what they're going to have to go through, because we've all been that route. But when you explain the consequences, and some things we can prevent, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, I tell you. But I just don't want anyone else to be blindsided, because I think if you know better, then you do better. And I don't want to see any more parents having to go through struggles, but you may have to, and it's okay. But just know that you don't have to go through them alone. There's another parent that's going through that knows how to navigate through the different systems. And if it's healthcare systems involved, say it may be crisis or something like that, you really, you burn a lot of energy, you exert a lot of energy. When you love your children, you put your all into them. So it's worth every ounce. I'll tell you, everything I went through for mine, it was worth it. I met a lot of great people from all gamuts, all walks of life, correctionals, law enforcement. And I haven't met a law enforcement officer yet that I haven't liked. I may not like how they say certain things, but not that I don't like them personally. But all this is a part of our growth and development, our environment. And we know that institutions are going up every day. And our babies are going in there left and right if they're not falling out on the ground from them killing each other. It has to be a better way. Is it the spirituality? Is it the self-identification? Is it the self-perception? Is it that they think that they don't have no more? Is that all they can do is act like animals and ravish out here over something that's really temporary? Where does that come from? Are we sitting down and with our families and setting a family goal? Are we saying, okay, family, because that's your team, that's the first team you got. This is what mom and dad, this is how we see us moving forward, and I think that should happen at least every 6 months. Every 6 months, you should do 6 months to a year. So everybody sit down, have an assessment, take an assessment, see where they are. Where are we going from here? Sounds a little strange. It is strange at first till they get used to it. My kids, we did all of that. We had meetings, I wrote contracts, all of that, because I was not playing with them. I didn't have the chance. I didn't have the opportunity to be the gentle parent or whatever that gentle parenting is. I don't know nothing about that. I can't get with it. I'm sorry. I'm just not built for that. I ain't built for the gentle parenting. Y'all, to each his own. My thing is, with everything that I've done, I still made mistakes. My son still slipped through cracks along the way. And thank God for prayer. Thank God for taking him to church. Thank God for praying grandmothers and praying aunts and uncles that reinforce that, and others in the community that reinforce positivity, giving him positive male role models to follow suit, to talk to, and to give him knowledge as he was growing and learning. And I'm so sorry that we're coming up on a year anniversary and he's not going to be here, because I really wish that I could see who he was becoming, because he was on his way to becoming something greater in his life. But God got us here where we are now. So the only thing we can do is, move on. It hurts, and you go through the things, but you gotta continue to move on, because even when life serves you lemons, you have to find a way to make lemonade out of the lemons. You can't walk around holding these lemons, because you're gonna think, first of all, they're gonna go bad. Then they're gonna be all messy and whatnot. So we don't want that. You want to make lemonade out of your fresh squeeze, out of your fresh lemons, once life serves it to you. I'm totally off tangent, totally off task this morning. Thought I was, but sometimes the spirit just moves you to say what you need to say. And my question to you today is, what is it about your life that you're happy with? What area of your life are you happy with and pleased with right now? And I want you to write it down. What are you happy with in your life? I know I just shared all this stuff, and nobody wants to talk about the negative side of the parenting side. Nobody wants to talk about the consequences that we may face as a parents when our children fail to toe the line. So it's because my dad used to say toe the line. When they fail to toe the line, there's consequences to that, and it impacts the family financially, mentally, physically, spiritually. It wears you down. It breaks every part of it down. So what part of your life are you happy with right now or pleased with? And write that down. And why you're pleased with it right now. And what about your life that's making you happy right now? So we're going to hold on to those questions right there. I don't want to give you too much, because I know that I don't know. I ask a lot of questions. I ask myself a lot of questions a lot of times. That's the only way that I can find the answer to continue to move on and move forward. Like I said, this is a conversation. I welcome you to our community. I wish that you guys could like, share, and comment below, because the more we interact with each other, the better this is going to be. I can stand here and share my story with you all day, all night. It may be similar to yours. It may not have no dealing with your life, none whatsoever. But if we begin to talk and share about our lives, our different experiences, what things we experienced, what challenges we had, how did we come over those challenges? What mindset did we have to get through them? Because it's a certain mindset to get through some challenging times. You can't sit around and say, oh, woe is me. It's never going to change, and expect things to change, because it's not. But if you say, all right, I'm gonna tackle this head on, let me deal with the problem. Let me see what I got here. And you figure out where you're going to start. And sometimes when you're going at problem solving in your life, you don't when you're in, sometimes when you are problem solving in your life, you're trying to figure out like how you can make it better. Where do I need to improve? You find hidden problems that you weren't even aware of. And you have to work at finding a solution, because there's a solution for every problem. Don't let nobody tell you that, oh, that can't be fixed. They're lying. It can be. It might take you some time. It might take you longer to get through it, but trust me, there's a solution to every problem. There's not nothing where you're completely all stuck. You're only stuck if you hold yourself stuck. And I want to thank you guys for your time this morning. It went rather fast. We are now at 10:28. And again, please go back and review last week's lives, and let us know if you care, if you're brave enough to share. Are you thinking about making some changes in your life? And in what areas would you like to see those changes? And what are some of the steps that you think you need to make before we even get to somebody else? What are some of the steps? What are some of the changes that you think that you need to begin making your life? Because we kind of got an idea of what we need to do for ourselves, because we are self-governing, right? We are self-governing. We're holding ourselves accountable. We are taking responsibility for our lives. We are no longer leaving our lives in someone else's hands to drive our boat. We're driving our own boats. So join us tomorrow again at 10 a.m. so that we can continue this dialogue. I hope to bring a little bit more together, but this morning, sometimes you gotta just let God do what God do. I don't know, maybe my son is like just wanting me to tell that part of his story. It's just so much, you love these children, and you give birth to them, and I gave birth to him, watched him grow all the way up to a man, watched him become a better father than the father that he had. And trying to maintain all that, and still trying to make sure that everybody's going to be good. Now, I know that it's not my job to be responsible for everybody, but do I know that I am the mom? Do I know that I am the matriarch of this family? Do I know that if I do not do my due diligence and do my best to plant the foundation, to build the foundation for them, that they will fail? Yes, I do. So the cost of awareness for me is responsibility, and I have no problem taking that responsibility. Now, do I like it all the time? No. Do I have to clear out the clutter so that I can release the old stuff and allow space for new things to come in? Yes. Do I like it all the time? No. I'm just being honest. And you're not going to like it neither. But you know that you have to do the work if you are looking to expand your life. It's not even so much about a result, because your results are going to change over time, right along with your life. You want to expand your life. Whatever it is that you want more of, you have to zone into that. But you have to pay attention to your frequency, because sometimes life beats us up, and the different things we go through kind of has you on an emotional roller coaster. And I can speak on that because I ride it every day, but I learn how to manage it every day too. Sometimes you need medicine, sometimes you don't. But you do the best that you can. But you know that you are the driving force. You know that nothing is going to be done without you. And you know that God is going to give you all the strength that you need to get through anything. take a pause, talk to him, read his word, get to know him a little better. Because that's what's really gonna make the difference in your life. It's not so much the people that's talking to you or the classrooms that you're sitting in. You could go out here and learn extensive information, but without God, none of that means nothing. It means nothing at all. Put God first, then you, then your family, and everything else falls in line after that. So with that being said, I'm Tia Rodgers, ladies and gentlemen, and you are a winner from the time that you were conceived in your mother's womb, and you are born with all that you need inside of you. I don't know how beneficial this was to any of you today. If you got some good nuggets out of it, or you didn't get anything out of it, let me know. The only way that I can become better is if you let me know where I am better and where my strengths and where my weakness lie. My job is to help you navigate through life challenges. And if you should need a hand up, here you go. Come on, I can pull you right on up. But just know when I pull you up, you got to do the work because I'm doing my own work on me. So I'm working on me. I can help you with some of your stuff. But if I'm helping you with your stuff, how much am I paying attention to my stuff? Not much, right? So you have to be kind of interdependent here, and you need to be able to toe the line. You got to be able to do what you need to do for your life, because you're navigating and charting your life and your lifestyle. So whatever lifestyle you have in your head, you want the fancy cars, all the jewelry, all that stuff that I don't even know about. Hey, go for it. Or if you're just trying to just live your life, you don't need too much, but you want to set yourself up right so that you can be cool and you don't have to worry. You know what I mean? Come on aboard. We take you all. Now, is everybody going to be a fit? That might not be. So everybody's not always a fit. Everything's not for everybody, and I'm not for everybody. But one thing I do know is that God is for everybody. He has no errors like us humans, and he's going to always have your back. He doesn't get tired. And although he may not come when you're running, he's always right on time. So with that being said, have a wonderful, blessed, amazing week, guys. Happy Monday. I kept you like 5 minutes over the time, and my apologies. Go out here and be awesome. Have a wonderful, blessed day. Bye. Oh, wait a minute. Let me make sure I do this right, because I need to say goodbye to YouTube. Bye, YouTube. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, share, and comment, because it helps. And we love you and appreciate y'all. Bye-bye.